Okay, why don't we get started? Are there any questions from the last writing assignment?
Yes. For me, I would like to ask my essay. You comment that I might be off topic because I put my opinion, but
Yep.
I did not write my opinion. So I'm wondering which sentence that it seems that I'm expressing this opinion. I never wrote, I think, or I believe.
Right, and you don't need to write those things. In a proper essay in school, we never say I think or I believe in an essay. Anytime you make a judgment, like saying that one is better than another, that's an opinion.
Also, I didn't that. Maybe because I wrote a conclusion despite something. Despite this is the what I wrote. Maybe we can read my conclusion. I think maybe you meant this part.
Yeah. Okay, so
if you can share it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find it. Space exploration. Yeah. Okay, so we'll take a look at the intro and
conclusion.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so the first paragraph, governments are spending huge amounts of money on space exploration taken from taxpayers. There are some advantages of funding this project, whereas the significant disadvantage of the spending is it is mostly considered a waste of money, and it is wiser to spend this amount on solving many pressing global issues such as poverty. So that's what it said in the original. So when you say it is wiser to spend this amount, that's a thesis statement. That is an argument.
Okay.
Okay, that's why I changed the language to spending is that this amount could be spent on solving many pressing global issues. All right, and that makes it more neutral. And then we've got the same thing here. To conclude, despite the fact that funding space experiments is valuable in terms of allowing people around the globe to communicate easily, sharing this money with other underdeveloped nations whose people are living in low socioeconomic status is of paramount importance to enhance their standard of living. Is of paramount importance is also an argument. You're arguing here that this is more important. All right, so just to make that neutral.
Is of paramount importance looks like I'm saying this side is more beneficial than the other, so it's kind of giving a judgment or opinion. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a very easy language fix. Sharing this money with other. Hi, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Now, yeah. Yes.
Okay, I've been having issues with Zoom all day. I don't know if it's my computer because I'm on a wired connection. I'm not on Wi-Fi. Can everyone hear me okay? Yes, no, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah, I hear you.
No, I can't hear you properly.
Okay, thanks.
There is something.
So
okay, thank you. Yeah.
Sorry, Allah, what's happening?
Like it's clear, but
Allah,
sometimes it glitch. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. If it gets too
Okay.
bad, let me know, and
second,
I'll try and troubleshoot.
yes.
Okay.
So instead of
Uh,
saying is of paramount
space
importance, you
itself,
could simply
it's,
say
we
could
need
enhance.
article.
No,
Could
never.
enhance, yes. For the word space, we need to put this space.
Never.
It is not like sun, the sun. Never.
No.
Why it's only one space? Why not? It's not like the sun or the moon.
Yeah, the astronauts are in
Hello?
space. They are in the space station.
Okay. Yeah. So no article.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, let's go on with today's lesson then. Today we're going to do two other prompts. One of them is going to be just like this one, with what are the advantages and disadvantages. So whenever you get a prompt that says discuss the advantages and disadvantages, they are not asking for your opinion. If you give your opinion, it's off topic, it's irrelevant. Okay. It says here, the rise of ebooks comes at the price of a decline in paper books. Some people see this as a positive step forward while others disagree. What are the advantages and disadvantages of this trend? It's quite different. They don't want your opinion. Just describe the pros and the cons, and that's it. So our format is going to be quite simple. Context, paraphrase the prompt, and give a basic thesis with no opinion. Body paragraph 1, talk about the advantages. Body paragraph 2, talk about the disadvantages, and then give your full thesis in the conclusion. But again, don't give an opinion, just summarize both sides. Okay? Is the audio okay? Did you hear me okay, or was it cutting in and out?
No, it's clear.
Okay, excellent. So this is a more detailed template. And we'll look at this after we've done just a little bit of brainstorming. But if you follow this, you should
I
be
have a question.
okay. Go ahead.
What is the
Go
difference
ahead.
between either and whether?
Difference between
Like
either and whether.
starting
Okay, good question.
Because I wrote either, it was wrong.
Whether is like if.
Okay.
Let's do a couple examples with whether.
Like here in this question, either is saying either this view or this view, but like even when you say either, it should like means this or this.
I think, Mr. Yan, either it's what you consider preposition, either, neither, nor.
Either, neither, either or, neither nor is a it's a kind of conjunction. It's called a correlative conjunction. It comes from correlation.
Conjunction, yeah. And whether it is noun, clause, noun, it's like what or how.
When you use whether, it's like this is a noun clause. I don't know what, I don't know whether we should do A or B. And a lot of people, instead of whether, will say if. Okay, so that's what it means. I'm not sure if that answers your
Yes,
question.
okay.
Like, I cannot say I don't know either we should do A or B.
No. You can say either we should do A or B, or better would be we should either do A or B, but not with I don't know, and not with this construction. This is your predicate, is the subject of intense debate. What is the subject of intense debate? Whether X is a positive trend or not. This whole thing is a big noun, and you have to use whether here. You can't use if, it has to be whether. Whether something is blah, blah, blah or not is the subject of intense debate. I don't know whether this is a good idea. I don't know whether I should go to work today.
Okay.
Okay. Sylvia, what's a disadvantage of ebooks? Remember, this is, and it's not just ebooks, it's ebooks come at the price of a decline in paper books. Right? So we're talking about the whole trend, not just ebooks. So just, it doesn't make a huge difference in this topic, but just keep that in mind. It might affect some of the language choices that we make.
Maybe that we need to have like a computer or laptop or phone to use them.
Mm-hmm. And why is that a problem?
Because not everyone can afford it. Or not everyone have it.
Kind of true. Are there a lot of people that still don't have an electronic device? Maybe. Not everyone. Okay. It seems that everyone does, but I guess quite a few people still don't. Okay. Any other disadvantages of ebooks?
You couldn't make
I
a
think it's-
highlight.
Sorry, Safa?
You couldn't make comment beside the paragraph and making highlight to important information. Actually, in the ebook, there is a possibility to make highlight, but no chance to add any comment or note beside the paragraph.
Let's say it can't annotate them as well as paper books.
Okay. And
Yeah,
then-
definitely true. Okay. Has anyone read any research on the difference between... Yeah, go ahead. Or
I was
Ella had something to
thinking
say,
maybe it can be
Sylvia?
something
Here, a
like
couple.
that some people are losing jobs who works at the bookstores and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's less concentration to use ebook than paper books.
Why do you say that?
Because I think when you read books, you focus more. Because like when you go into ebook, like it can get you after 45 minutes on the screen, it can causes you headache and can affect your eye, which can affect your concentration. This is research, like using screen for more than 45 minutes, it's affect your eyes and get you headache.
So we'll say it's more fatiguing, causes headaches and eye strain, which affects concentration. The research actually shows
another
that.
disadvantage.
Yeah, go ahead, Dina.
Sorry, I think one of the main disadvantages that still a big group cannot utilize technologies such as the elderly.
There is a disease called office headache, which happens to the people who use computers every day.
Ella, one more time.
There is a disease called office headache. Like it's usually front headache in the forehead and around the eyes. So because of the long usage of on the screen, like laptops or computers.
Okay, and the research does show that students don't learn as much from ebooks as they do from paper books. I don't have a reference for you right now, but I did read that recently. What do you think some of the reasons might be? Because if you use this, then you do need to explain why that is.
For which one?
Why students don't learn as well from ebooks compared to paper books. Jesus.
Because like the access to the ebooks is their laptop or phone or iPad, so they can have the ability to go to the network, like pages, the Instagram, social media. So this is a big issue.
They can get
While
distraction
he's
easily.
facing the books, yes, while he's using the books, he cannot even look to the left.
I think also easy to memorize the paper shape in the normal book or paper book, but in the ebook there's no chance to memorize images or something like this.
Not sure what you mean by that.
Usually I can memorize the shape of the page and the numbers and all this stuff. But in the ebook, it's so difficult to have any special criteria or features of the page.
Oh, like that. Okay. I'm not going to write that down, but you can... I haven't heard anyone say that before. I kind of understand what you're talking about. If you can explain that, then maybe that's something you should talk about. Do you want to try? You want to try and explain it? And for everyone who's trying to explain stuff, pretend your audience is in grade 9. Okay, maybe this will help with the kind of language that we choose to use. Pretend you're writing for a grade 9 kid. Forget about a 40 or 50-year-old examiner. Pretend you're writing for a grade 9 when you try and explain this stuff.
Usually, if you missed or forget about important information, you try to brainstorm or try to memorize the shape of the page, to memorize the information on this page or something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think what she's meaning, like when you use like your vision and hand, like writing or drawing the picture or the page, it's you can't like imagine it in the exam or anywhere.
Yeah, and
But
easy,
even
easy to
yes, but
memorize.
yeah, but even though when you are using the laptop, you can write too, and I don't know. But colors can help you to memorize, like using the highlights.
Safa, what is it about a paper book that makes it easier to remember?
In the ebook, it's the shape of the page. It's changing with the changing in the size and content and all this stuff. But the paper, it's like fixed shape. It will not change at all.
Okay. So it's like a landmark.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I understand. Put it here. Okay, so we've got tons of stuff for the disadvantages of ebooks. What about the advantages? Remember, you need to have equally developed paragraphs. So evidence and example for both. They should be about the same size. So what are the advantages of ebooks? Why do some people consider them to be a positive step forward?
They take less space.
So what?
So, for example, it's easier to take them on the go and read somewhere outside.
Yeah, if you're on the subway or on the bus, you can just hold your e-reader with one hand, right? As opposed to opening up a big textbook and trying to read that while you're on a shaky bus or train.
We can save more resources like trees, the inks we use in the books.
Also, no transportation. Books are heavy, right? Okay.
Easy to access, it's available. So at the touch of a button, you can read any news.
Faster to grab the information, like If you have any doubt about this information, you can Google it. And get information.
Okay, so there's two parts of that. So the book itself is easily searchable, right? Like if you remember just one word or two words in an ebook, you can find that passage, whereas it's much harder to do so, obviously, in a paper book. Okay. How can we summarize this? What's the overall concept here?
Convenient?
Mm-hmm. What's another word?
More practical.
Very often, it's a good idea when you've been brainstorming to try and group your ideas using a singular concept. So practical is good here. I'd say the big word is, or the big concept is, ebooks make knowledge more easily accessible. Practical, I'm going to put here as a secondary term. I think it's hard to argue with this. You've got the world's, all the books in the world in your pocket when you've got an ebook, right? And then we've got all these supporting ideas. They physically take up less space. At the touch of a button, you can download any book in the world, and they're easily searchable.
And less expensive, not costly.
For sure. Much cheaper. Okay. You don't even need to talk about this. There's so much to write just based on these ideas that's fine. What about for the other side? How would you summarize the disadvantages?
Not accessible for each one, or not easily accessible.
Do you think that's a very compelling argument? I mean, this is a trend that's happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if you just took this, 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 this? What would be the most concise way to summarize these problems with ebooks? Well, what's the purpose of a book? Let's forget about entertainment for a sec.
It will decrease the knowledge to the student.
Yeah. So keyword here is not as effective. And the keyword here is more accessible with the key concept. So if I were to do this, this would be my governing concept. And then I wouldn't bother with this. I would choose this one, choose this one. I would choose this one. And this is a good one too. I think you did a very good job of explaining how these features of the text make it harder to remember things. Now the other thing you mentioned was we put landmarks in quotation marks because they're not really landmarks, but I can't think of a better word. Become landmarks. Okay. Any questions about this? All right, so as a quick writing assignment, I would like everyone to write a thesis statement, a full thesis statement. So in this template, in the intro, we just do a basic thesis because we can get away with that. But in the conclusion, you need a full thesis. Okay, feel free to use this template if you want to customize it more. If you want to do your own version, that's fine. But this is the one. Okay, so I'm just going to put this in the chat. And I'm going to put the question in the chat too. And it looks like Mohammed has joined us as well.
Yeah, sorry, because I have some problem in connection.
No problem. Dina, do you remember Mohammed? You might remember him from the Saturday class a while back.
Yeah.
Who's Muhammad?
Hi, Dina.
Do you remember Dina?
Nice to meet you again. Yeah.
Mohammed from Egypt.
Yeah.
No, it's been a while. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, no problem. So I'll just the connection's not great. It's cutting in and out, and I'm having a hard time figuring out why that is.
Yeah.
I'll give you guys 3 to 5 minutes to write the thesis statement, and I'm going to see if I can figure out what's happening on this side. Okay? I'm just going to mute myself for a few minutes. Hey, Allah, can you see my screen?
Now we can see.
Okay, good. Just had to check one word here, Dina. Okay, let's check this stuff out. Allah, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, let's check yours out. It's at the
Yes,
top.
I'm here.
Just blow it up a little bit. Yeah, my internet connection is very slow. This never happens except today. Okay, sir, go ahead.
So the increase of ebook usage ebook usage. What I can say before usage?
What verb tense is this?
Past.
Right. So if something is past, that means it's not true anymore. Right. So simple past means that something happened in the past and is no longer true. But that's not what we're talking about here, right?
Okay.
So what's the verb tense that you should use when something started in the past and is still true?
Is or no? I don't know.
Well, let me give you an example. I don't want to tell you right away. So you're going to say this to a lot of patients in your life. If you're talking to a patient about their current health and how it's the result of lifestyle choices over many years, what do you need to do with the verb here? What's the most appropriate tense?
Your lifestyle choices. Where? At
Present perfect is what you need. Have had. And here it's singular, has had. Does that make sense or no?
yes. Yes.
Here's a common question.
Okay. So
What has had the biggest... Yeah, go ahead.
no. No.
You know, I'm just gonna turn off my video. I'm just gonna turn off my video, so maybe that'll improve the connection a little bit. You could get a question like, what has had the biggest impact on your career? Or who has had the biggest impact on your career? Right? You could say, my father has had the biggest impact. My mother has had. This professor has had. Okay, and same thing here, paper book sales.
okay.
So at the same time. So you don't need anything here. There's no need for any kind of transition.
Some people see this is a good step. Overall, the benefits of ebooks are more.
So that doesn't make sense because you're
Yes.
saying the benefits of ebooks are more accessible.
Yes. So overall, the benefits of ebooks includes or include easy accessible.
There's a couple ways to do this, but you have to use being easily accessible. They are easily, oops. They are easily accessible. You need to transform this into, you can interpret this as a gerund or as a participial phrase. Transform it to being easily accessible. So the benefits of ebooks include the benefits of ebooks include being easily accessible. Could you simplify this though? Can you just get rid of some words here to give the same idea?
Okay, so overall, the benefits of ebook.
No, just delete. Delete, delete, delete. 3 things. If you want to really simplify, you could just get rid of the benefits of. Overall, ebooks are more accessible. If you don't do that, then you need to put include being more accessible. While the drawbacks
include affecting student knowledge and why cannot students?
You can, but it's the same issue here. It's the same issue here, and it was here, and it was here. Possessive. You would need an apostrophe. If you wanted to keep ebooks here, it would have to be with an apostrophe. Apostrophe. But the noun phrase is better. It's more common. We'll get rid of that there. But here, it has to be S apostrophe. Do you understand why?
Referring.
Yeah, because whose knowledge or health are we talking about?
The students.
Yeah, so the knowledge and health belongs to the students, so that's why you need S apostrophe. Not apostrophe S, because it's not one student, but plural students, possessive. Okay, otherwise the ideas are good. All right, there's no opinion, it's just both sides. The merit's good. It's certainly true that easy accessibility and practically preferable are major advantages of ebook. Why did I underline this, do you think?
Practically preferable. Because this is opinion. Like, but I think in the question they now it's more right.
It's a grammar. It's a grammar issue. It's just a grammar issue. You've got here, it's certainly true that easy accessibility. So easy accessibility is a noun phrase. You need something similar here.
Prefer practically?
Yeah.
Or practically prefer?
I don't.
Preferable?
I don't know what that means, but I would just put practicality. And ebooks in general. When discussing concepts in general, it's very common to use the plural. Okay, good. I like you put the semicolon, and however, what goes after semicolon, conjunctive adverb?
Yeah,
yes,
after however,
you gotta have that comma in there. Yeah. So the disadvantage of ineffective for learning cannot be ignored. One word can fix this.
Disadvantage
You would
of
have to
less
stick one.
effectivity for.
No. It's the same issue that Allah had. Same grammar point. And it's not, it's a pretty advanced grammar point.
The disadvantage of being ineffective for learning cannot be ignored. Okay.
So the advantage or disadvantage of it's going to be some kind of noun, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you either need like a single word. You've got here, for example, the advantage of accessibility. Practicality. But the other form that this can take is the advantage of being accessible. Those are the two forms. So if you wanted to say practicality, being practical. Does anyone have any questions about this grammar point? Just remember, you say the word, the advantage of it needs to be followed by a noun or a noun phrase. So it's going to be a noun like this, or it's going to be the gerund form. Noun like practicality or the gerund form. And then,
so ineffective, what is it here?
Being ineffective for learning is the noun phrase. If you
What
wanted
about
to use the noun
ineffective? Is
form,
adjective?
it would be yes. But if you put being in front of it, being ineffective is a gerund. Being ineffective for learning is a gerund. Now, this is pretty easy to do. The verb doesn't even matter. If just make a simple sentence, it is accessible, just transforms into being accessible. Being practical is from it is practical. Being practical. It is, was, will be practical. The verb, any verb tense rather, becomes being practical. And then you just put your verb afterwards. Okay, cannot be ignored. Good. Dina, the advantage of okay.
The fast? Mm.
Mm-hmm.
The advantage of the fast-growing e-book trend is how to access lots of information instantly. However,
So how
the
to
drawback
access
is
information
that
is not
many
an advantage.
resources
Because this is funny, it's kind of like we're playing broken telephone. So how to access lots of information is not an advantage. This is not an advantage. You need something else here to indicate that this is an advantage. And it's going to be two words. Well, the first one's the.
the accessibility,
Simply the ability.
ability to access lots
That's
of
an
information.
advantage. And I had to look this one up. Trustable is a word, but it's not really used. Okay, so the common word we just have is trustworthy. This is a trustworthy resource.
Trustworthy.
Yes. Trustable is
Trustworthy,
a word,
it's
but
adjective.
yes.
And trust alone, it's noun.
Yes. Or a verb. I trust you. That's a verb. You have my trust. That's a noun. If this word is very common, trustworthy. This source is not trustworthy. I have no idea where they got the information from. Okay, Oksana. Otherwise, it's fine. Oksana. Well, it's certainly true that ebooks give us an accessible resource to read without spending.
Okay, I will remove that without spending. It's completely not necessary.
For a thesis, you're right. You don't need it. Just cut it out. But it would have to be without spending money.
And without spending money.
And
yeah.
here,
And another question. The disadvantages are far greater in terms of ebooks. Can I do like that? As it is not as effective for learning purpose. Can I do this way or not really?
Okay, this is the same grammar point we've been looking at for a few people. How would you transform this sentence? It's not as effective for learning purposes into a gerund.
Being not effective for learning purposes? Or not being, okay.
No, being not as effective is okay too. Good. Now here you've got a run-on sentence.
Yeah, I know. Upper low, forever.
You just need a semicolon.
Yeah, I gonna. Oh, okay.
This is an important rule. All these words like however, moreover, furthermore, therefore, as well. It's got to be semicolon, conjunctive adverb, comma. Otherwise, it's a run-on. Okay, we've got one more from Sylvia.
Thank you.
Okay, Sylvia, generally speaking, you can put this if you really want to, but this is a phrase we use with writing task 1. Okay, this is for your general overview for writing task 1. People are debating if ebooks are better than paper books. It doesn't really work here. I'm going to say it's no good. I suggest using this form. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not creative writing class. I know I tell you to take chances, but in some cases, these templates work really well. It's just a bunch of phrases that you have to memorize. Just memorize something like this, then you don't have to worry about how to start these sentences. There's an ongoing debate about whether X or Y. It's going to work beautifully in this kind of situation. Okay, good. Wider accessibility. However, got to put the comma. Very important. Because you're not saying however the drawback, it's however the drawback. The drawback of electronic books.
I think it should be ineffectiveness.
Yes, good catch. Very nice. Any questions?
Mr. Yan, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. When sometimes when we get a question like this one, I'm not sure when we start writing, we will write this word, it is a well-known common fact or an ongoing debate. It depends on the type of the question or...
Good. So the template that I gave you is perfectly fine. There are other ways to begin these types of introduction paragraphs. Any other suggestions for how to begin this? Basically, you just need to paraphrase this first part of the prompt. This is the context. This is not part of the argument. This is just a given. This is a given fact that the rest of the prompt is based on. So you have to put this in your own words.
So this is not an opinion of some people.
Right.
This is fact.
Yes.
So do you, what's your advice? Can we say that there is a debatable subject or something? It is not an opinion. So.
Right, but it's saying some people see this as a positive trend while others disagree. So there is a debate. There's definitely a debate, but they're not asking you for your opinion on this debate, just to talk about both sides. Like, why do some people take this side? Why do other people take the other side? This technically is not an essay. This is technically a report. Essays have arguments, but there's no argument in this format.
So can we say some people say like this, in this type?
Yes. That's why
some people say this side is advantageous because of.
Yeah, or you could use something like this. Whether the rise of ebooks is a positive trend or not is the subject of intense debate.
Yes.
You could say something like, ebooks are becoming more popular by the day, and opinions are divided as to whether this is a positive or negative development. Okay, that's another. So I could do, okay, and down here, okay, so you've got several formats here. Now, the question is, which one is easiest to remember? Which one is it least likely, rather, that you're going to make a mistake?
The first one is easier.
Yeah, this one's good. This one's pretty easy too. There is an ongoing debate about whether ebooks are better than paper books, whether airplanes are better than helicopters, whether chicken is better than beef. Right, whatever you want, you can stick in there. Whether any number of topics could be started with this format. Okay. Then the advantages include, and what did we decide on here? How could we summarize the advantages? One word. Accessibility. While the disadvantages include
Less practical.
Is it less effective for learning, right?
Yeah, yes, yes.
So practical is one of the advantages because you can have a million books in your pocket.
Yes.
Include, so this is where the grammar that we looked at today comes in. So accessibility is an easy noun, but here we need more than one word. You could say ineffectiveness for learning, right? You could say being ineffective for learning, or this has to be followed by some kind of noun construction. So ineffectiveness is a noun for learning. Being less effective, this is a gerund. Okay. Here, if we just follow the template, a number of advantages are associated with, let me just ask you at random. Okay, Allah, you're first on my list. A number of advantages are associated with what?
Number of advantages associated with the ebook.
This is our question. How do you put the rise of ebooks in your own words?
Ebooks usage or the increase of ebook.
Yeah. And I'm going to give you a phrase, the increasing popularity of ebooks. And I'm keeping this phrase because this is passive voice. It's a very good idea to show evidence of passive voice usage. I've embedded passive voice in some of these template sentences, so if you remember these sentences, that's another advantage. It's taking care of some of the grammar requirements. Okay, number of advantages are associated with the increasing popularity of ebooks. So this is also something that will work not for every topic, but for a lot of them. The increasing popularity of, if they're talking about a trend, this will work. Okay, Dina, supporters point to what?
The disadvantage, support.
Oh, we're gonna start with the advantages.
I mean, supporters point to.
Yep.
Okay. So the first supporter supporting that ebook, it's easy to access the information.
Mm-hmm. Let's say I want to be a little bit lazy and just use this phrase as is. Okay, keep in mind that when you're writing on computer, you're not going to be writing this point form stuff and then rewriting it in sentences. You're going to be transforming your point form into full sentences. So let's transform rather than rewrite. So let's just do this. Ebooks, how do we link this to the first part of the sentence? Supporters point to ebooks make knowledge more accessible. We need to add something. What phrase could connect these two things?
Connect the first topic with the reason, or sorry,
No,
I did not get it.
We need a phrase here to connect this grammatically. Supporters point to, and then the rest of the sentence. 3 words.
Supporter point to the fact that.
There you go.
Wow.
Okay. All of this is about their accessibility. So I'm just going to copy it. I'm just going to stick it in here for now. Okay, so this isn't really relevant for what we have. Let's just turn these points into sentences. Okay, let's go with Safa.
Yes. Okay, I have to give example for that, or
No, all of our thinking is already finished. Our thinking is already done. We've already brainstormed and come up with these points.
easily researchable and much cheaper.
Yeah, we just need to transform this into sentences.
Okay. Visa to Okay, number of advantages are associated with the increasing popularity of ebook. Firstly,
Mm-hmm.
at the first, ebook at the touch of the button.
Okay.
And you can instantly download and download any book.
First of all, at the touch of a button, you can instantly download any book. Good. Oksana, next one.
So I have to make a sentence with the take up less space, right?
Yes.
So may I start the sentence with ebooks are easily to, no.
Yeah.
Ebooks are easily to take.
We need a transition. Moreover.
Moreover.
You're forgetting the reason.
Okay. Moreover, because easily ebooks are no because take okay because take up less space. And easily to take them to the road and read outside.
So we don't need them. They're easier to take on the road and read outside compared to a large text. Okay, if you wanted to give an example of this, right? Provide examples from your own knowledge or experience. What would be an easy example to get this point across? Right, we mentioned riding on the bus or subway. Direct, straightforward examples are the best.
For example, while commuting to work, you can read your book.
Okay, can you expand on this a little bit?
But you must be in public transport because you cannot
okay, so let's add that.
while you are in the car.
Obviously, while commuting to work by public transit, you can read your book. Without carrying around a bag full of texts.
And also when you are traveling with the kids, it's very easy for kids to make them busy, right? To read the ebooks.
Yes. Keep them occupied. Okay. We don't even need to include this. It's always good to have more information than you need, but it doesn't mean you should include all of it. This is too much. You can kind of keep this in your back pocket just in case, but for now, I don't think we need this. Okay, last sentence. Allah.
Okay, so there are clear advantages of using ebook.
We'll just say instead of paper books. This is your connection to the prompt. You want to make it very explicit so there's no confusion about what the purpose of that paragraph is. All right, disadvantages. Let's go with Safa. On the other hand, there are obvious drawbacks of maybe she stepped away, Sylvia?
Of switching to ebooks.
Switching introduces an extra layer of complexity.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just...
Of using ebooks?
Yeah. If you use the word switching, then all of a sudden the reader expects you to talk about making that change. This is more neutral. It lets you talk about anything. You can always change the words. You can always tweak the language later if you have time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, keep going, Sylvia. Opponents argue that... Just grab these reasons. Let me just grab this stuff. So I'm going to cut out some of this. Go ahead.
Argue that ebooks are ineffective for learning.
Good. Keep. Okay, we're going to go with Dina. Okay, we've got our evidence here.
So studies show that maybe it's good that we make specific students, or studies shows that students, yeah, studies show that maybe 70% of students.
You don't even need that. It's making it more complicated, but you don't need to
Complicated,
do
yes, yeah. That
I mean, you
show
could.
that the students who uh, who who are learning through ebooks are doing less in school in comparison to their counterpart who study on papers, on traditional method. Because of they get distracted easily.
By what?
They get distracted easily by other apps, their phones, or other social, as you wrote, other social media notifications, or by chatting with their friends.
Okay, can you give maybe a personal example to bring this evidence to life? Can you make something up very quickly that brings this to life?
Maybe we can say, like, my cousin studied some courses online through not it's the same as online studies. It's different.
No, don't change it. For example, my cousin got worse grades in every course he took in university where the teacher assigned an ebook compared to a paper book. Something like that, right? Or for example, find that it takes me much longer to read an ebook compared to a I would just say this. I just made that up. It's true, kind of. Okay, Allah, last sentence.
Yes. So for that reason, not everyone supports using the ebooks or reading from the ebooks.
And I would add especially for students. Okay. Allah, keep going. Arguments on both sides of this issue have their merits. It's certainly true that
Accessibility is a major advantage of ebook. However,
I'm going to say electronic books. However,
however, the advantages of ebooks cannot be ignored.
yeah, but we need to specify what those disadvantages are.
Okay, the advantages of ebooks include less effectiveness, and or we can say the advantages of ebooks include decreased knowledge and affects the knowledge and health of the student, or cannot be ignored.
Okay, let's put it like this. Decreased retention of knowledge. Okay. Retention is a fancy word for remembering. You probably use this in medicine. The patient is retaining a lot of water.
Yes, water retention.
Yeah, okay. Certainly true that the advantage of decreased retention of knowledge cannot be ignored. Now, we need a short little phrase. We've already got accessibility a few times. Can you paraphrase that?
Practical, being practical,
That. Okay, practicality. Let's say practicality. It's not a bad synonym for accessibility.
Decreased retention of knowledge, like forget the information.
Yeah, because what we wrote here is students don't learn as well from ebooks.
Yeah.
Right? Not learning as well is the same as not remembering what you read.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it's just say what you're going to say it, say what you said. Okay. The other benefit of using this template is this template tells you exactly what to write and where to write it. Okay, the essay writes itself. That's kind of how it should be. This kind of template is an example of a genre analysis. Genre, in this case, is an essay. More specifically, it's an advantages and disadvantages essay type. And the template has organized all the content that you need, and it also includes the organization of that content. That means if you use this essay template, you don't have to think about that stuff, and you can focus on grammar and on word choice. Also, if you memorize the sentence skeletons that are part of the template, it takes care of a lot of the grammar for you. It takes care of sentence variety, takes care of grammar variety, such as the passive voice that's embedded. Here's another example, cannot be ignored. Okay. So I don't think I can say this enough, that this is not a creative writing class. These templates are to give you an advantage. so that you don't have to make everything up from scratch when you sit down to write. You can just boom, boom, boom. Even start by writing the template, not even by writing the response. Just start by writing the template, and then it's like fill in the blank essay writing. This is not a bad thing. This is not baby English. This is a good way to write. Right? It includes all the expectations for what a reader expects to see in this type of writing.
Yeah, right. At least you have sometimes at the end to read what you wrote. Right?
Yeah.
Because if I start from the scratch, usually it couldn't manage the time at all.
Yeah, it's going to take you way longer.
Yeah.
You want to do creative writing, we can do creative writing, but in a different class.
Yeah, I think this is to get high score. It's more easy and more.
It's practical writing.
Mm-hmm.
If I were writing a business proposal, for example, I don't have a lot of experience writing business proposals. I wouldn't try and invent my own business proposal from scratch. I would go to a website that focuses on this kind of writing style, and I would get a template as a starting point. And I'll bet you any money that that template is going to be, as a starting point, better than what I could come up with on my own. Okay. Once you get experience in this kind of form, you can throw away the templates, and your brain has already memorized the patterns and it can just produce them instantly. When you can do that, when you're at that level, then you can easily come up with your own variations. Okay. Any other questions at this point? We've only got a couple minutes left. If not, then that's it for today. I'm going to put this one up in a little bit, and I will give you the link. So the link to this document is already in the chat. If you want to download your own version of this, it's at the top of the chat. Okay, this is due Thursday by noon. Okay, I'm sorry for all the audio issues. It's just for some crazy reason, the internet is being super, super slow. And that's it for today then. Have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, you too. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you. Good night.
Take care.